HerStory. I have my fabulous co-hosts with me, and we're inviting you to come in and chat with us as we talk about issues that we think are important or just relevant to our lives today.
I'd like to bring this up because this is obviously a very serious topic for us. In August, many Zambians are going to the polls to vote in our next leadership. But there's a lot of talk around defections, endorsements. What does this mean for us, the voter? I'm registered, I'm ready to vote, but what do all these defections and endorsements mean to everybody? What do you think about that?
Personally, I think it's going to cause a lot of confusion.
Okay.
I, for one, am a registered voter. However, I don't know. Who do I vote for? Do you vote for somebody because you believe in that person and their ability? They move to another party. Who do you vote for? The party or the person? Who do you follow?
And I think, because I'm registered, yay, but I'm an undecided voter. And for me, I think the defections are all about, well, what happens with, what is the party doing? Is it about numbers or is it about us, the people? And I feel like completely confused.
I think, is it also safe to say that sometimes don't politicians who actually have, the good of the country in their hearts, they really want to do something, join the party that they think is going to win? I mean, it's not always about, do I actually agree with my new party's manifesto or their values, but I know that they're going to win in this particular area. And
so I can do some good eventually.
Exactly. So if I stay...
And I'll do good as we go along.
Exactly.
Well, I'm sorry. Did I interrupt you? I'm sorry.
It's fine. I distrust defectors.
Okay.
For me, it just, have a position and stick to it because it just really confuses the voter. That's my opinion.
But I mean, at the same time also, we've seen, sorry to say, recycled politicians in UNIP, in MMD era, in PF era. Are we gonna just, is anything changing? Is it the same people? Have their morals changed? Or again, are they just joining who is the party of the day?
Yes. For me, it just seems like political expediency and I just distrust them.
Okay.
You would hope that they have some moral fiber in them and they have something they want to pass on, right?
Yeah.
Instead of just moving because they're about politics of themselves.
Right.
Well, I think this is going to be a conversation that's going to keep happening over the next few months.
Right.
And I wanted to talk about something similar because that's not similar at all, but it's about freedom of speech and expression. The other day I saw, like a month ago, there was this guy on Twitter who called out these two artists, Wezi and Mumbayachi, and basically said they were ugly. And it just made me think, and I kind of do attach it to our earlier discussion on politicians, is the way we speak to each other. And has social media made it easier for us to just say whatever we want without any sort of consequences to it?
Yes. I think the problem with freedom of speech is that there's no actual guidelines to actually tell us, when you say freedom of speech, how much freedom do you actually have? Because if you're telling someone they have freedom, however bad or ugly or mean their expression is, it is their expression.
But should there even be guidelines? It's free speech.
Exactly.
And I agree, I do believe that you have to be responsible, especially when you're in the public eye.
Yeah.
It's not like we're sitting around at our house having a good chat about something that won't leave the walls, right? But at the same time, honestly speaking, do we really have freedom of speech in Zambia? And I think what social media has just done is given us a real platform to maybe say what we want, or what we've been wanting to say. The only difference is that everybody gets on the bandwagon, but I think you can say what you want to say.
But it still goes back to my point, though. Freedom of speech doesn't have to be hurtful. Yes, bullying.
Yeah.
So I think we like to throw the argument of freedom of speech, but I think it needs to come with some level of responsibility. And I feel social media has allowed us to just feel we can say or do whatever we want.
Right.
I think because people are hiding behind a screen, they think they can say they can say whatever they want. But I think, just practice some sort of self-control. Do you understand?
Respect what's coming out of your mouth because it reflects who you
are.
and it also reflects the person you're speaking about. And I do believe you have to be kind
Yes.
about what you say. However, in so being, you have to sometimes put it out there and express yourself. But does that mean you have to be rude?
Yeah.
That's my
I think
question.
if you're
I think stating the
mhm.
truth will be different from being rude.
I was gonna say that,
There's a
yeah.
huge difference between
Yeah.
that. You can state the truth, humanely, but being unkind
Without
is
being
being
rude
unkind.
about it.
Yeah.
But I think also as adults, sometimes you just put it out there. I think where it hurts is maybe with children,
With children.
where you can't protect. And social media still is a relatively new concept in Zambia. And when we talk about cyberbullying, especially with kids, I mean, you gave us a good stat the other day. What did you say about
8,000 or over 8,000 kids in Zambia were cyberbullied.
Right.
In 2015.
And I think parents just don't know what to do. Before, you could go to the school and say, you know what, this kid is beating up my kid, and talk to the parents, which I guess you still can to an extent, but it's just between those two kids and maybe like 20 other kids. Now,
It's
if you're
global.
bullied, exactly.
Yeah.
It's very true. And I guess that's what kind of brings it back to, you said earlier, is this lack of freedom of speech in Zambia
Yes.
currently. So there is obviously the bullying side that we don't want to get away from,
Yeah.
but then there is the power of social media. I think this is what this also speaks to,
Yeah.
is the power of social media to
Yeah.
give people this voice, but it has to be responsible as far as I'm concerned, and not
Right.
hurtful.
True. Talking about saying something hurtful, there was a lot of hoo-ha on Facebook the other week about some woman who was found in bed by her husband with his brother.
Yeah, right?
And he beat her up, and the response on social media was amazing because everybody, women especially, would justify violence against this woman. What do you all think, ladies?
I don't. We're just like. It's
ever justified.
No, it's not. I honestly don't think that no matter what you do, no one has the right to put their hands on you.
Yes.
And
Chill,
maybe
even with self-defense, really?
self-defense is different because someone has put that original person didn't have the right to put their
Yeah.
hands on you, and you had to defend yourself. But no matter what you go out and do, no one has the right to put their hands on you for that. I think, especially as a grown-up. Now, doesn't mean I agree with what this woman did, but I don't think her husband had any right to go and beat her up for it.
And also is the fact, what I find interesting about these kind of topics is if you were found in that situation, you caught your husband,
Yeah.
it doesn't have to be with a sibling or with just someone else, full stop. Can you guarantee you can have enough restraint to walk out of that door and not do anything?
But you know, the thing is,
Depends how big he
you
is.
would probably end up beating the other woman.
No.
Yes. Yes.
Yes, I would.
Because for me, I feel like
Kunda, you're hard.
Because at the end of the day, it's the man who's got the obligation to me, not the woman.
But women don't think
women
like
don't
that,
think
Kunda.
like that. That's what I was
Women will
gonna
go
say.
and
Very
attack
true.
the other woman.
And
The
even-
two of you will be fighting over the same guy.
But then we're coming
And the
back
guy
to
will
the
be
point.
there sitting there watching.
But then
you
we're
know.
back to the same point to say, we're talking about justifying the violence. Now, he probably acted out of the same emotion we're discussing now.
No,
to
it's-
say, you know,
But you should have control.
Yeah.
I think that the thing is for me, which is kind of what I was saying about the women would probably beat up the other woman, was again, it was women saying, oh, yeah,
she deserves it.
She deserves that.
Yeah.
It's like, why did we need to find a justification
Yeah.
for him hitting her instead of like, it doesn't matter what she did. You know, yes, that was bad. Yes, that's a separate discussion. But the violence against her
Was not okay.
unnecessary.
Leave her.
Not okay.
Leave her.
Exactly.
Why didn't the man get beaten up?
That's a good question.
And furthermore,
Society's double standards.
Yeah.
furthermore, what happened to her was illegal. What recourse, as a woman, as women at this panel, what recourse did she have?
But I mean, where would she even go, honestly?
Well, hopefully she did pursue it, but the reality is, look, society's views were still going to be, you slept with his brother.
Yeah.
What did you expect?
And talking about relationships, there's a new trend. You know, we all know relationships can be messy.
Can be.
They can. And they can be problematic and dramatic, etc. But there's a new trend where we're talking about e-relationships.
Okay.
And it's ghosting and icing and all these words that basically saying, I'm in this relationship, but I can prevent certain things that are usually the natural course of relationships, such as being hurt.
Right.
by tagging it as in icing or whatever you want to call it.
Right.
So my question is, have our relationships now completely changed?
For
Have
sure.
we done a complete
For sure.
U-turn?
For sure. Well, one, the roles have changed. And the purpose of relationships have changed. So
I
we're
totally
not
agree.
either willing or we don't have to commit.
True.
Because, I mean, before...
But do we?
No, but what I
Social
mean
standards.
is... No, but I think they have. Because before, you would
We've got more
get...
options now.
Well, yeah, we have lots of options. But I mean, before, you would get in... Most people would get into a relationship for marriage.
Yes.
Right.
You generally would both whether it works out or not, you'd both be thinking, okay, is this somebody I can marry? Probably
We
from
had
day
courtship.
one. Yeah, we courted, we dated. Now,
Some people still do.
Yeah.
no, of course, some people still do. But I think there's a large number of people that just go in. We'll just see how it goes.
Right.
But
Yeah.
I totally disagree with you, Chel.
Okay.
I think people are running away from being hurt.
Yeah.
Yeah, they are.
Can you even in the
That is the whole point of
Then is it not public hurt?
relationships.
No, I think it's
Yeah.
both. I think like for me, I'm going to be in eerie relationships from now on. I think the whole thing is when you've been hurt
Yeah.
before, you just can't imagine going through that pain again. It's
Yeah.
like, you know, I can get the sides that I like of a relationship, but protect myself.
Well, it's like carrying your
Ultimately,
baggage.
You're missing the whole point of relationships. Relationships are supposed to
Yes.
hurt.
No, that-
It's the hurt.
No,
not
they're supposed to be
supposed
difficult.
I
No.
as well. The
Love
hurt-
does
Well,
not
I guess
hurt.
the whole point is that you
No.
have
Then
Then it's not love.
Then
I think it's what do you get out of the relationship?
Yes.
How do you grow? You grow from the pain. If someone does you bad, who are you? How do you decide? You then decide, who am I and how am I going to change because of the hurt? If there's
Yeah,
no
it's
hurt,
true.
there's no growth.
Yeah.
That's
It's like
true.
otherwise we have no baggage.
That's
Otherwise we
fine.
never have baggage.
Yeah, I think that, okay, I think the bigger thing is the risk worth it?
That's the question.
That's what I think it is.
That's
You
fundamental.
have to know that.
I don't believe you can have a relationship without getting attached somewhere, somehow.
Yeah, especially for
No
a
matter how
woman.
much you convince yourself. Men maybe, women no.
Humans
Yeah.
are just not, we're not geared that way. We're supposed
No.
to be attached because that's how we learn.
I think the only difference is that if before you go into a relationship and get hurt publicly, you know, everybody would know what happened, but if you're in an e-relationship, maybe half of people don't even know you're in that relationship, so now you're just crying by yourself instead of crying in the public, yeah.
But I think also, and it will be my last point, I think fundamentally the thing is, as you said, generations, relationships, everything has changed.
Yeah.
We are in the me generation,
Yeah.
and it is about, I can do whatever I want. And
To
that's
a
where
certain
we
extent.
focus on.
You can do what you want, but remember there are people who are going to get hurt.
And
Yeah,
repercussions.
But that's why
Yeah.
you have the e-relationships.
Someone will still get hurt. They don't work. They don't work.
People get hurt. Not me.
Somebody will always get hurt. They don't work.
Ladies, you know what? I think this is something we could continue to go on and on about, and I'm sure we will pick up on this from future discussions. However, I would like to go back to politics and women in politics and where we are going as a country, Zambia, women in politics. Would Zambia look different if there were more women in political roles? And by roles, I mean not necessarily the roles that we see women in today, MPs. I mean higher roles, ministers, president.
Why not?
For sure. For sure.
We seem to have this idea that women in politics in Zambia is a new thing. And it's not. We had it pre-independence, freedom fighters. UNIP era, we had it. Mama Kankasa. Post-UNIP era, going into the phasing out of UNIP and the phasing in of MND, we had a fantastic woman, Lucy Sichone, who was an amazing woman for Zambian politics and what she did.
Yeah.
There are many women's names we could pull out and put in there. My concern is today, politics today, and women today, we have this idea that women are not good enough. Yet we have women elsewhere in the world. Madeleine Albright, for example, said something to the effect, and I'm not quoting because I can't remember the exact quote, but something to the effect of, if we take away women from politics, then we are taking away 50% of the world's population from making a decision in a country. We're not allowing true reflection of a country. So, guys, what are your opinions?
Okay, look, I totally believe that we need to have women in higher positions. I think, you know, the real question of can we, as a society, as Zambia, are we ready for women in the highest position of the land, as in the president? Are we ready for that? I don't think we are.
No, we're not.
we are.
Can I share something with you guys? I have a cousin who's very educated, very exposed, and works in a big international organization. And we were having this conversation, and she said, I could never vote for a female president. And it really bugged me for a while. But then I started to hear it more and more and more. And I realized that the people who wouldn't vote for a female president are women.
Exactly.
It's not even necessarily the men.
Exactly.
Why don't we
So
support
just-
each other as women?
I think
What
we
is
just-
it with women that we can't find it in ourselves to back other women? What are we afraid
First
of?
of all, I
Well,
would say some women, because look,
Not
this
all of
is
us.
we're all here
Yeah.
supporting each
Would
other.
you vote for a woman
So,
president?
Absolutely.
I would.
Yes. As long as they are competent.
Yes.
Yes.
And not
Yes.
voting for a woman
Yes.
just because she's a woman, she
Yes.
has to have the qualities.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think that also some women, and a good majority of them in political power today, haven't shown us good examples of female leadership. That's what I think.
In
And
Zambia.
I also in Zambia. And I also think, okay, what is it as for me? I would like to vote for women because I would like them to put women's issues on the table. But I haven't really seen women in politics today actually speak to the female voters.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I really haven't.
Yeah.
I hear you.
I don't think they've been given the chance.
That
to
I was
speak
about to
female
say
voters.
that. Yes.
What if they haven't been given a chance? Every time they get on a platform,
Yeah,
they
they
have
have
the
a chance.
opportunity.
The problem is
they
what-
want to talk about other things. They want to bring down someone else. They want to bring all the negative female
Are they
characteristics.
missing the point that they are in a position, they are in a powerful position? Are they missing the point?
Maybe they're fighting so hard to stay
up
there
there,
that
yes.
they're not even focusing on what's important out
Exactly.
there,
And
what
I kind
the
of
reasons
think
they went
about
in for.
your own work, especially when we work in corporate worlds. We always originally back in the days, even just a few years ago,
Yeah.
the trend was, as a female leader, executive, in management, whatever, you had to be like your male counterparts. I think it's only in
And
the
you
last
still
few
do to an
years,
extent.
but not as much.
You have to be able to compete.
Now that yes, you have to be able to compete, but at the same time, you don't have to wear the pantsuit.
No.
You know, you can
No.
wear a nice feminine outfit and
Yes.
whatever. But I think that maybe that could be the problem when you're talking about they're still playing that role of I have to be like a man.
Yeah.
Do you think
Yeah.
that possibly is a lead-in to this sort of topic? And I ask that because women in the workplace are paid less worldwide
Yeah.
than men are. So we are underappreciated, for want of a better word. Are we underappreciated in politics?
Oh, for sure.
All the time.
Let me give an
Everywhere.
example. I mean, in the US, we all know the racial tensions have been rife for years, okay?
Right.
But think about this. They would rather have voted, and I'm a huge Barack Obama fan, but they would rather have voted for a black man, the racist, the Americans that are racist or,
right.
you know, against elevating black people would rather have voted for a black man than for Hillary. Now, I'm not saying Hillary would have done a better job or not, but I'm just think about that psyche.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that, you know, one of the things
Sign of the times.
But you know, I think one of the things where we are a little bit better often is that this gender equality thing has been pushed so much
Yes,
in Africa.
yeah.
And you see it. We have more females in leadership
Schools.
throughout the continent than anywhere else. But it still comes to Yes, because maybe in our minds we believe, yes, we need to give women opportunities.
Are we pushing it before we're ready?
Exactly.
You know what?
We still need to be able to control how far that woman can
You know
go.
what? It's
because she still needs
also
to get home and cook and she must
exactly. I was gonna say that. It's also, can she be a good wife? Can she take care of the children?
Yes.
Can she be home? Ah, look at how she's bringing down her husband.
Yes.
When will we be able to separate her job from her husband and that? And if she's not
With all
married,
due respect to everyone that thinks that, chill. 99% of the women that I know that work, and certainly us here on this panel and us here who have children, be it at home, be it at boarding school, be it wherever our kids are, I think we do that.
Yeah.
I think we do put in the all in all.
We do, but it
I'd
comes
like
at
to
a
think
price.
it comes at a huge price.
And
Yeah,
it's
sure.
and
You are
it's not that
judged.
easy.
Yeah.
And you are judged and condemned every step of the way.
Yeah.
Whatever you do is wrong, and you're going to be judged by it.
You know-
if you have a maid who comes to assist you because you're a career woman,
Right.
you are judged and condemned because they're like, well, why is the maid doing everything for your husband? Why is the
soon
maid doing
she's gonna
everything
take
for your kids?
over because
Right.
of your job.
You know,
You know what I mean? It's
you can't
true.
win.
It's true.
You can't
You,
win.
if you want a Saturday afternoon where you're like, you know what, I've worked so hard the whole
Yeah.
weekend, then it's like you don't even spend time with your children.
Right.
Neither does he. And he's
Is that what we're going to be asking when we have
That's what's gonna
a
happen.
female president?
Yeah.
Okay.
We'll be like, when does she have time to spend with her kids and her husband?
Exactly. Yes. Did he eat Hiroshima today?
Yes.
Yeah.
So we then need to learn to differentiate
Yes.
roles and marry roles into the spectrum of what it is to being a woman. But the core question here, are we in Zambia ready for a woman president?
And that's something for us to think about.
Yes.
Thank you very much, everybody, for joining us today. The show is really about all of us. And as women in Zambia, we care about Zambia, so we want to be heard and we want to hear what you have to say. What you want to say is very important to us. So please tweet about #HerStory. Find us on Facebook or Twitter. Let us know what you want us to discuss. And let us know if you'd like to see anybody for us to join our chat. And we'll see you soon.